You're listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Sit back, enjoy the show. Paul Apostolakis, Salvatore Kuzmano, Brad Weisgerber, the Uper himself. We are Inside Real Estate. For all of those of you that are joining us, thank you for listening to our show. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you feel so at the end of the show, please leave us a review. That helps us out a lot. We've had a lot of good commentary as of late, a lot of likes. So our show's growing. We keep getting more and more traction. If you want to consume us on the podcast app, go to any podcast app, Stitcher, Spotify, all that stuff. Or you can go to Facebook/IRE podcast, or even go to irepodcast.com. There's a lot of ways to consume our shows. So today we have a really special guest. We've got Mr. Brian Vieaux. He is the president of Finlocker. We utilize them. So I want to bring him on the show. I want him to talk about kind of like what they're doing in their space. And then we'll talk about some more, some topics. Obviously there's some big topics on this coming up. There's a bond auction today. Zillow's being sued, and Matt Ishbia went at Quicken, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but we don't, obviously, it just depends on how that all works. But let's bring on Brian Vieaux. Brian, welcome to the show, dude.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me again.
That picture we have up front must be pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID, and yes.
Yeah, you looked younger in that picture, much younger. Just no offense. So, Brian, obviously you've been hard at work. You came when we first met you on our show. You were at Flagstar.
Yeah.
Had a great career at Flagstar. You're a VP there, and then you went over to this company called Finlocker. How long ago now? A year ago, maybe?
Yeah. No, it's been. We're getting on 2 years. It'll be 2 years this summer. So it's hard to believe I've been away from direct originations now for like 20 months.
Yeah, that's wild. I can't believe it's been a year, actually, because I've kind of seen it happen. So what I have seen is we're obviously using your product, and what I have seen is a lot of enhancements to the product. So do you want to talk a little bit about what your product is more than anything?
Sure. Yeah. No. Thanks for that. So we built a consumer-facing, financial super app, and we're focused on, financial health and well-being. That's kind of the overarching theme of our app. We are a B2B2C platform. So consumers can't find Finlocker on their own. We don't have, we're not out in the app store as a Finlocker product.
Right.
So we work with folks like Omega Lending and brand the product, with your logo. It basically becomes part of your tech stack. And it's a tool that you can then give your prospects and customers. So as it relates to kind of housing and the mortgage industry, one of the biggest use cases we see today is kind of top of the funnel activity, the app helping first-time home buyers prepare and really guide them on their journey towards purchasing their first home and getting that first mortgage.
Right.
So, what does that mean? What do we do? There's a bunch of tools and functionality in the locker, but in a nutshell, the first-time home buyer has access to their credit, so their credit score, credit report, real-time monitoring and alerts. They can link their financial accounts, so all of their financial accounts in one place, and kind of see their entire financial life on a single dashboard. And when they do that, the data that comes from their credit profile and those linked accounts powers the analytics layer of the tool and really helps them on that journey towards readiness. So we give them the ability to see all of their spending, both from a trended perspective, but also in real time. And then they can use that data, that actual spending analysis, and create budgets, right? And those budgets can help them lower their debt to income ratio. And by the way, if they don't know what debt to income ratio is, in the app itself, there's several education links and videos that talk about specific things like DTI, private mortgage insurance, et cetera. So it's kind of this guided journey focused on financial literacy, health, and well-being. And then, kind of cutting to the chase, when a consumer uses the app during that journey, at the very end of the process, when they're ready to now start their application
this is what's titty right here. Let's go.
When they're ready to start with one of your originators from their app, the user basically can tee off a process to aggregate the data from that app. They can also store documents along the way in the app, pay stubs, tax returns, letters of explanation, etc. And then all of that is kind of bundled up and sent directly to the originator from the Finlocker app. Then you can now ingest that and pre-fill your POS, your LOS, and you've got this seamless, connection with your customer. It's secure. It's a secure transfer of data and documents. So it's amazing today how many consumers are super concerned with their data, but yet they send emails and documents and information unsecured across the internet every day.
Like fax, right?
Yeah. So
right? You shouldn't be faxing tax returns, actually, right? Really.
I don't even know if you should be physically handing a set of tax returns to an originator. I mean, I always joke about the analogy of, the hotshot originator in the convertible gets the stack of tax returns, sets them on the passenger seat, and blows down the road, and there goes 100, 200 pages of tax returns blowing all over 696. So.
Which does happen. So what's really cool, and Sal and Brad, you guys can talk about it. Like you guys have, Brian, you guys have created a financial literacy app that helps borrowers in the mortgage process. It's really mortgage focused, but ultimately it's a utilitarian tool for the consumer to use to be able to manage their finances in a succinct way. On top of that, what you guys have done is created direct links where now we're as a mortgage company getting, it's actually could be push button get mortgage, right? You push button, you open the conduit, and we can get on our side updated pay stubs and updated information from their system that they allow us to get that we don't have to keep asking for, which makes it much easier for the borrower at the end of the day. That's awesome. Brad, Sal, do you guys have any questions about that? Because I think it's super, super interesting as far as that goes.
No questions. It's a really great product. I mean, the product is geared towards us as another business, but it's really beneficial to the customer, to the end customer.
Yeah,
that's really geared towards. But it's kind of like a win all the way around for everybody that uses it.
I know that you guys have done a lot of enhancements, Brian, lately. Yeah. I know that you guys have. So talk to me about when you started, right? The product was very utilitarian, didn't look as great as like we wanted it to, and there's some things so tell me a little bit about the enhancements that you guys have done over the last almost 2 years.
Yeah. So when I joined, the company was really focused at the time on a single place in the mortgage manufacturing process. And that was really around digital asset verification. So it was kind of a, one product or one step in the process. We've since evolved to be more of a holistic financial app for consumers. And by the way, it's valuable for a consumer, even if they're not doing a mortgage, just understanding and monitoring their credit and understanding their finances. But what we've been focused on in the last year and a half, and it's really going to come to a head here in May and June with the release of what we're calling Finlocker 2.0, is there's three things we've been focused on. One, Paul, you've been very vocal and we're very helpful in helping us think about the UI, UX, the consumer experience in the product, right? And so we've focused on that first and foremost. So UI, UX, gamification, just look and feel and an intuitiveness of the app for a consumer has been kind of a focal point. And then there's two other pillars that when they come together, I think are really going to be powerful for originators. So we're building this architecture around this concept of persona, right? So today it's a one-size-fits-all experience. So whether you're a first-time home buyer, 18 months from being ready to buy, or an old guy like me who's been a homeowner for 30 years, and maybe I'm looking at different things in my life, the experience today is kind of the same. So with personas, right when a consumer sets up their app, we'll key them as a specific persona, and then their journey, their experience now going forward will be specific to that persona. And then underneath persona, we have attributes, right? Like, are you a veteran? What's the timing? When do you plan on being ready? Immediately, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months? Are there other goals and objectives that you have in your financial life? And you bring those all together with persona, attributes, goals, and objectives. And now there's a very specific set of journeys that user will be taken through. And then the third pillar of our project is this layer of engagement. And the way I think about layer of engagement, it's the connection point between persona, goals, and objectives, and feature functionality in the app. So it's how the app talks to and guides the consumer on whatever journey they're on. And what's super cool about the engagement layer is, remember, this is the Omega Vault.
Right.
So every time the app is communicating to the consumer, it's not Finlocker communicating to the consumer. It's
right.
Omega Lending through the Omega Vault having that engagement with the consumer. So it's an extended engagement for an originator, both up the funnel, kind of getting ready for a mortgage, but also post-close, after a mortgage has been closed. It's a customer for life utility. It doesn't go away.
It creates stickiness with the consumer, and it does also provide us as the lender a lot of data that we can utilize. And data is really important. So how secure is the data from the client? I mean, what I love about this product, guys, is it's white labeled, right? Ours is the Omega Vault. You go to the Omega Vault, it's powered by Finlocker. It's all white labeled. It looks like our native app, and you guys have done a really good job white labeling it. Now, talk about the data accessibility for a company like us. Is there a fear from a consumer standpoint that we're going to have all this sensitive information? How does that work?
Yeah, so the whole app is built around this concept of consumer permission data. So permission is the key word there, right? Consent and permission. So unless the consumer expressly permissions and consents to share their data, you don't see any of their PII from the app, right?
Sure. Yep.
And so what we've enabled is the process I described earlier of starting that mortgage application, sharing across data and documents. And so that's a very specific event that occurs from the locker, and the consumer permissions and consents to that process. What we do as well is, when you think about the data in a locker, goals and objectives that a consumer has set, all those things as changes are happening in the data set create alerts, triggers, events, right? And so those alerts, triggers, and events, we can expose those. We can share those with Omega Lending, our client who's provided the app to the consumer, and that can further power your engagement with your customer outside of the app through your own CRM, right? So we're not telling you that they just charge something on their Chase credit card,
right?
But we may tell you that they set a goal for saving for an event, buying a home, kids' college, a wedding, whatever, and they're 50%, 75%, or they've achieved that goal. That's an alert. That's an event that gives you something to engage that prospect, that consumer on, based on things happening in their app.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are growing. You recently got funding from, I think it was TransUnion, right?
Yeah.
You guys got some good funding, so you are gaining a lot of traction in the space, and that's kudos to you and all the hard work that you've done in almost the 2 years that you've been there. So I know that there was a lot of work done before that, but you've been really banging it out, and we appreciate that. You've been a great partner of ours. So, but I did want to get to some of these topics. So first one we'll go into is, I mean, Matt, Matt. Everybody's heard of what Matt did. I mean, it kind of made national headlines. Matt went ahead and basically drew a line in the sand, basically saying if you work with Rocket TPO or Quicken, as we know him here locally, that he will not do business with you. I love Matt, right? I do. I have a lot of respect for him. I can see his mentality on this. He's like, F you. I don't, if you support them, he believes wholeheartedly in his heart. I believe Matt believes this, that Quicken is not good for the broker industry. Because he thinks that they're going to do nefarious things and go after it. I mean, he basically went on and told everything on his. He did a video, and then yesterday, Austin Nemec did a video. Who I also know, Austin's a good kid. The guys at Quicken and I think they're just at that business with their business model, right? They're just working there. Matt sees it as infringing on the broker space. And he made an ultimatum for companies like us that we do use both of them on occasion. We use Quicken. Look, what Matt's built is better than any other system in the business. Period.
True.
Yeah.
Period. It is the best system in the business to use. Natalia, you can take that down. And I think he knows that. right? And I think he knows that wholeheartedly. So he's like, I'm going to take my ball and go home. If you want to play with me, you can come over to my house, right? So how do you feel about that, Mr. Brian Vieaux?
Yeah, be great. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so as it was happening, I was kind of watching, and you go through a range of thoughts and emotions, frankly.
Right.
My first reaction was, man, I wish I was still in the wholesale space at Flagstar, because I think ultimately, the move and the reaction and the action that's happened over the last 10 days is probably in the near term good for that second tier of wholesale lenders, right? The Home Points, the PRMGs, the Flagstars, the Equity Primes of the world. And so that was my first reaction, is like, I missed another opportunity. But as I thought more about it, and I talked to probably 24 broker owners, just friends of mine that I've known through the years, and they're, I definitely, like you said, Paul, I love Matt. I think I love his passion. I love his will to win. Clearly, he learned that tenaciousness from his college basketball coach, Tom Izzo, right? And he talks about that all the time.
All the time.
In their business, I love watching UWM just from a study perspective, because they run their company like it's a program, like it's a team, right?
Yeah. Like he's trying to win. His whole goal is winning. I know he made all this money.
All about the win.
Yeah, he went public, but Matt is all about winning. I know that more than anything. That's the most true statement that you can say about him.
Yeah. It's his strength. It's his superpower, to quote, what Austin talks about with the broker superpower, right? Matt is a winner. And on the other side, and so we're in a very interesting spot here in Southeast Michigan, right? We kind of all of us sit right in between the two.
It's like mom and dad are getting a divorce, and we're fighting about. They're fighting about it, right? Like I've been at both organizations for long period. I was at Quicken for 5 years. I was at UWM for 6.
Yeah, and I have friends who work for me at both companies, and so I think highly of both companies. I think when I think of Quicken and what they've done with technology and empowering the consumer with technology, that has been good for the entire industry. Okay.
It pushes the needle.
It forces everybody to get better, just like what UWM's been doing, for the last half decade plus in wholesale with technology. They've forced the Flagstars and the Home Points and the PRMGs to get better, and that's good for.
But dude, he did it in 10 years. I remember when I was there, he didn't even have a pricing engine. I'm like, and I even told Matt back then, he had like 30 AEs. This is the crazy thing about Matt. And within 10 years, he went from having, and I know everybody says this, and I think it's bullshit. They're like, he started on third base. His dad had money, right? No, people. I want to be very clear in this fact. And I think Sal has seen this because he lived through it as well. I've watched him take a team of 20, 30 people where he was just selling FHA nationally because that's all they had to sell back then. Right. Taking that with no pricing, no rate pricer or anything like that. And now is a technology leader 10 years later, and he's worth billions of dollars. You gotta respect that on some level. Am I right or wrong on that, Sal?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think, I think that they both need each other. If you think about it, like,
is this like the evil versus the good? Like they need each other, like in a comic book?
Yeah. Kind of. I mean, listen, UWM is mainly what it is because of Matt and the people inside and the work effort and everything, right? The technology. Fair. But I don't know if it would be where it is today without Quicken. Right?
We wouldn't have the talent pool.
I agree with that.
We wouldn't have the talent. There's
probably a third of the employees at least, right?
At least.
I wouldn't say the talent pool. I would say it's what's going to drive Matt. Right? I'm sure he'll find something. But
I'm not attributing his full success to Quicken, right? Like I'm
100% not.
But I wouldn't be in this business without Quicken.
I wouldn't.
And I know a lot of other people who wouldn't be either, right?
I would not. So I would not. Yeah.
And Quicken really set the bar as far as technology goes countrywide, right? I mean, so
that was the target, right? And once he got past it, I mean, QLMS probably wouldn't exist or be what it is without UWM either, right? I mean, they have to have a target.
They also fired UWM people over there too. It goes both ways.
Right.
Like, these guys are warring.
They both exist and thrive because of each other and how well of a job they do, right? And for better or worse, not to take sides or anything like that, right? But I mean, they both do a pretty good job. They both have competitive pricing, right?
Yeah.
I think the issue lies in the whole wholesale thing, right? Like whether or not they're repurposing their leads or not, which, again, I'm not getting involved in the
let's not get into the weeds
of this, right?
But
I think that they're both necessary, powers of evil or good, or however you want to view it in the industry. Whether you look at Matt's, move as good or bad.
It does. It puts us in a bad spot a little bit. It puts companies. We're okay.
Whether it puts us in a good or a bad spot, it's just I don't like to make a decision that bars me from something that I could do. Right. That's why we're entrepreneurs or business owners or whatever. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Company, right? So
Brian. I mean, the biggest issue that I had with it, Brian, is I personally, and I told Matt this straight to his face. I was like, Matt, we just don't like being dictated to, right? It's like, I asked him point blank. I'm like, where does it stop?
Right, but you got to think though. I mean, to his point. I mean, you don't have to use us either. You don't have to, right? I mean, he
big balls.
Like you said, whether it's, he wants to take the ball home or, bring it to the court or whatever, it's his ball. So,
he's made a lot of moves right over the years. And it's easy to go back and look at it in retrospect and look at all the moves. And I remember sitting where I was sitting at Flagstar. I was a competitor, right? And for a long time, Flagstar was one of the top, considered one of the top wholesale lenders. And UWM kind of went way beyond Flagstar in terms of service level technology and innovation.
Yep.
And as all that stuff was happening, I just remember kind of sitting and watching and hearing other people say, "Oh, this guy's crazy. This is a bad move." But
it always works out for him.
So whatever happens here, I think this story is not over. It's gonna evolve, and I think it'll be fascinating to kind of check back in about a year, see when the dust settles, what really took place here in terms of, where did the brokers end up? What did it do for market share at each of these companies? And then, like I said, those other, call it numbers 3 to 10. What did it do there? It's going to be fascinating to watch. I do think, as we talk about the value of both companies and their technology, there's been this technology evolution that's occurred with companies like Quicken and their direct-to-consumer technology and Better Mortgage and what they've done in Loan Depot. And a lot of tech companies have built and delivered products now to the market. And Finlocker is one of those that are helping small, independent mortgage companies compete at some level with technology with the consumer. I think that, again, is all ultimately good for the industry and it's healthy.
The broker channel has more today than it ever has. The broker channel, when we 10 years ago, didn't have fuck all. Like we were like nobody wanted to do business with a broker at one point. We were the linchpin of the downfall in 2008.
Yeah. Right? The whole downfall got pinned on the broker channel.
Oh, yeah. Sure. And they got hammered the hardest, right? We had the most rules, right? But we figured out a way to get through it. Matt was a huge part of that. You can't remove the effect that Matt has been able to get people up and running in the broker business very quickly. He found a way, created a system that was easy, intuitive. He built this whole thing, and now he's saying, I want you to use my stuff, but I don't want to use it, and then I don't want you funding my competition on top of that, right? So I get why he does it. I don't think anybody in the history has ever said anything or done anything like this, especially at the level that he's at, being a publicly traded company. Like that to me is just balls on balls on balls, right? Like F you use them, I'm not working with you. And people are like, is that even legal? I guess it is, because he's doing it. And his whole family are lawyers. I think he's okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think he's going to be all right. I know, Brian, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know that you got to leave in 5 minutes. So we're going to do 3 questions for you, and then we're going to get you off.
All right.
And we'll finish up the other 2 topics. But I definitely wanted to get you in the corner and say something about Matt that might get you like in trouble. Wow. So question number one. You guys got a question before I start?
No, not yet. Go ahead, start with one.
All right. If you could be any type of pet, what would it be?
Pet?
Why? Do you want to be a goldfish, a dog? Would you like to be a ferret, bird? What would you like to be?
Oh man, I'm not a big cat fan, but they're kind of cool, and they've got like they're cute, but they have attitude at the same time.
They're assholes, Brian.
They do whatever they want, right? So
they're always plotting. They're plotting to kill you at every moment.
Yeah, I'd be a cat.
Yeah,
Plus,
okay.
they can jump pretty high, which is cool.
Okay, I didn't expect you to say that.
Yeah, well,
it's a pussycat.
I didn't expect that question.
All right, next question. If there was one thing in your business that you could snap your fingers and make happen, what would it be and why?
Oh man, well, there's not one. There's like 100.
I know.
I'm gotta pick one. For one. That's why it's a question.
Adoption, consumer adoption, right?
You want adoption, yeah.
And just to go into that, I think, as much of a pain in the ass COVID has been now for 367 days. Tomorrow I'm getting on an airplane. It'll be 367 days.
It's so weird that you've counted that out.
But what COVID has done for products like Finlocker and other digital products is advanced adoption and usage.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people's grandmother can get on Zoom now?
They have to be able to get on Zoom now.
Buy groceries and stuff on Amazon. So I think, for me, consumer adoption.
Adoption's good. Okay, good. You guys got anything else before I go to the third question?
I mean, you already have one. It sounds like, so go for it.
If you had to marry, fuck, kill one of the three of us, what would it? You gotta do. God. You gotta do marry, fuck, kill.
I'm gonna take a shot instead.
Yeah, there you go. He's shooting
it. Truth or drink.
Brad's dead.
No shot.
Brad's dead.
So that leaves a really
Sal's fuck.
For the two of us.
I think Paul. I think you'd be dead.
You think I'd be dead? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's for Brian to pick. He took a shot. All right, man. Brian, tell the audience how they can find you just before you go.
Yeah. So Finlocker.com. You can. I'm on LinkedIn all over the place.
Yeah.
And then first name dot last name at Finlocker.com. So Brian.Vieaux@Finlocker.com.
Yeah, and you're always open to taking an email or a call, man. You've been a great partner of ours. Much. We appreciate you tons. I think the next show we do, we got to bring back the boxing gym onto the show. We haven't done that. We haven't done that. How's that going, by the way? Is that going well?
Yeah, they're doing fantastic. COVID was tough on all nonprofits,
right? And
especially one like ours that focuses on getting kids together for education purposes. So
right.
I'm real proud of the team there. They had to pivot like all of us have, and did a great job. Never missed a beat.
That's awesome.
Kids never missed any of their tutoring and any of their education process. And so, knock on wood, we made it through it. And now I think we're stronger than ever as a result again of COVID. So kudos to everybody over at the downtown boxing gym.
Last question: how's your son doing? Is he killing it is he still in the minors?
He's still a minor leaguer. He's heading to spring training pretty I think in the next 2 weeks. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's so weird that he's athletic considering how you look.
Okay, on that note, I think
all right, man. See you later. I love you. Be good. Oh man, I like Brian a lot.
Yeah.
Bye. See you later, Brian. Brian's awesome, and he's been a great partner of ours. So let's hammer through these other two topics before we run out of time. Next topic is Zillow is being sued for antitrust. What's being said is basically Zillow is throttling or hiding listings from the National Association of Realtors. They're boosting their own listings over their other ones, and basically the suit states that they've put the actual listings from NAR in a hidden place where it's affecting their ability to market properly, which is interesting. And what's really interesting about this stat is that what was it? Either way, what's happening right now is they're being sued, and I see more lawsuits coming at Zillow. Zillow's trying to do a lot of stuff on the real estate side. They're a brokerage. They're also a mortgage company. They're kind of all over the place, but their revenue model has always been off of real estate agents. And now, slowly but surely, they are affecting real estate agents poorly in a lot of ways. And I think there's going to be a backlash on Zillow. There's no competitor out there, right?
There is, but it's not a good one.
Who? Trulia?
Redfin, Trulia. There's others out there. They're not.
Trulia is owned by Zillow, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, right.
All
and
right.
you've got Realtor.com, which I think is owned by NAR. I'm not sure, but there are other options.
Why would they own Trulia? Like
they bought it because it was a competitor. They bought it. That's it.
Yeah,
that's all. Yeah. It'd be like if Matt bought Quicken, get him out of the way.
Yeah,
right. I don't know. I mean, we use Zillow. You know what I mean? When we go look up a property, we go to Zillow. It's the Google of homes, right? That's what they've done, is made it a Google of homes, and they've done a really good job.
I look it up for pictures, year built, and last sold price. At least when I'm writing a loan.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't look it up for taxes though.
Yeah, we use it all the time.
Right.
Well, Redfin does a better job of taxes. Just saying.
You go to the county website, but everyone kind of saw this coming. Anyone who didn't think Zillow was going to do this wasn't thinking about it, because it's genius what they've done, and I don't know that the lawsuit's really going to pan out.
You don't think it's going to pan out? Is it fizzle out like all the other ones?
I think Zillow might come out ahead on it.
How?
Because it's their property, it's their website. Why can't they decide what goes to the forefront? As long as the other information is still on the site and can be found, why can't they highlight their own stuff? I don't see what's wrong with it, personally. It sucks, but I don't see how they're gonna lose that suit.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. Rex is the person. I don't know who Rex is, but they're the ones suing him. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens. All right, so we'll follow up on that. But I think Zillow, is going to end up being just fine.
Yeah, how are you going to sue somebody for what's on their website, right?
Yeah,
it's their website, it's their information. Like, I can't go to Costco. I'm a Costco member, but I want my face on the front of your building. No, I can't do that.
Yeah, true. Exactly. If you're working with Zillow on the realtor side, you've got to be okay with kind of doing that stuff and knowing that there might be a little bit of pain with it because it might hurt you. You might lose a deal, but ultimately the amount of value that they offer real estate agents is high enough where real estate agents keep using them. It's not like they're not using them. You know what I mean? So either stop bitching about it and just play ball, or, I guess sue them. But I don't know if that's going to work. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's going to work.
No. All right. Next topic is going to be, there's a Treasury auction today. It's probably going on as we speak. I don't know. It's a really important Treasury auction today because rates have gone up. Basically, at the Treasury auction, they're looking to see what coupon moves, right? Something that was interesting in this article that I read is that 40% of our bonds are bought by foreign investors. 40% of our bonds are bought by foreign investors. And the reason they buy bonds, so everybody understands, bonds is a place for safety, right? You're not going to get a big return, but you put your money there for safety. And because it's a small return, but if you get a return and you're not going to lose money, right? Well, as yields go up, right? Because people aren't putting their money in bonds as much, because as more money goes into bonds, the yields go down because there's less of it, whatever. Yields have gone up because money has come out of bonds, but now this auction today is going to really kind of be a telltale sign. And rates have gone up. Sal, wouldn't you say? How much do you think rates have gone up in the last 2 weeks?
A quarter
percent. Yeah, a quarter percent.
Maybe. It just depends on the deal size and whatnot. Yeah. But it was up like a half, and then they kind of came back down.
Right.
Depending on what lender you're looking at, but it was pretty sharp stab to the gut, but luckily I think they kind of stopped the bleeding quick. It like most things, right? Like, especially you can see now with, like, for example, the stock market, right? It's like everyone's flooding to one thing, and then, a few hang on, right? And then everyone else drops themselves off. These stocks are nuts.
Stocks are nuts. Stocks are nuts, and people are pulling their money out of treasuries and investing in our stock market because it's going nuts.
And then taking their bags.
Taking their bags and going home, right?
Yeah, and leaving.
Like, I wonder how much
the few who like beat the drum to go there, like, are just, they get smoked. You know?
It's interesting. 40% of people buying our bonds. I wonder if the rest of the world took their ball and went home, right? And didn't invest in our bond markets, we'd have 13, 20% interest rates. You know what I mean? Like 40% of our bonds are bought by outside investors from different countries.
Kind of wild.
40%. I didn't realize it was that high.
No.
Yeah. And then how much money is in the stock market from foreign investors? How many foreign investors buy housing in the States, right? Yeah. There's a lot of foreign investment that we rely on that I didn't really realize in the housing market that really affects us. I mean, outside investment into our markets is really important, and it's still going on. But if we start seeing inflation on our dollar, so people put their money in the bond market for safety. So let's say I put $100 in the bond market and I get 1.7% return on it. But if that $100 isn't worth as much and I'm losing 2% on inflation, right? Now I'm negative on my money. I'm going negative on my money because my money's not worth as much because of the rate of inflation. So if the rate of inflation outpaces the yield, it's a problem for us. People, outside investors, then will not invest in our bonds because they will. The rate of inflation negates any of this of the protection. So inflation's a really big issue. Now, Yellen said, I know this is kind of boring, but Yellen did say that she feels that the increase in bonds is due to a healthier economy, that it doesn't have anything to do with any problems. Like, she's not worried about it. She thinks it's a natural increase, which I think they were pretty low as it was. I think it's just a shock. Sal, do you think if we go to like 3.5% on a 30-year fix, do you think that really creates a lot of issues in the refinance market? Or do you think that's fine? People still be able to refinance?
Well, it depends, I mean, where you're at. I mean, there'll be a lot of people who can still probably refi, right?
Probably,
people who are in FHA, or if their values are up still, right?
Right.
I mean, that's the bigger thing probably about refining that made a lot of sense for people is
pulling cash out. Yeah.
And not even pulling cash out, but a large part of this refi boom was the ability to have put 3% down 2 or 3 years ago and refi out of PMI with on a price waiver, right? And get the lowest rate possible. Otherwise, it's like, is it worth $40-$50, to pay $2,500 on average to refi? Right. I mean, someone just sent me an LE, and they're in FHA at like 3.875 right now, and they put a value that I don't think is realistic, and they quoted them 3.5 at the full point, you know, and like they were ready to do that loan, and they're rolling $12K into their loan. I mean, it's like, and not because they're dumb, right? I mean, they sent me it to look at it, right? But how are you supposed to know that, right? Like, when you don't do this every day. And there's a lot of people or a lot of lenders like who will write a refi and they probably don't even know what they're doing. Yeah, it works, right? You're saving $100 a month, but like, it's crazy. So yeah, I mean, I think that you'll probably see a lot more people trying to figure out how to make deals work that, would have been a slam dunk, 3 or 4 months ago or whatever, right? When the rates are 7.5, but like, there's still going to be people who are able to refi and pull cash out. I think purchase market will open back up pretty well. I think a lot of people I feel like people are going to feel a little bit of a calm from like the virus, quelling.
We might have the roaring 20s, dude, where people are out spending money like crazy because now, let's say they lift all restrictions in July, hypothetically. Then you're going to see people like going out and spending money like crazy. I think going out, eating. They're going to feel a lot more comfortable doing stuff. Like, for instance, Cedar Point.
What year are we in the 20s? I think we're in the second half of 2028, right? And the stock market crash is looming. I mean,
it is. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yes. Things are overbought. It feels way too hot. Like, it's like, I don't know. At some point you can ride the high and then but be prepared, guys. There's going to be a reckoning. There will be a reckoning. There's a question from Nathan Nix. Can you bring that up, Natalia? because I think, what do you guys think about Zillow acquiring showing time? Well, now Zillow knows every time somebody looks at a house, they know every single time a property goes off and on the market, they are in real time gaining a lot of data. And it was a super smart move by them, but
data owns all. Who owns the data? That's who's going to win.
And showing time is not that sophisticated of a program, but it allows
everybody uses it though.
Correct. Exactly. And now Zillow owns it. And if everybody uses it, then they get all that data, right? Yep. Whether they say they're going to use it or not. Now they say they're not going to use it. They have no plans of using that data. The reality is they have let's see here. Nathan said something else. What's that, Nathan? I have noticed a handful of LOs dumping crazy values onto get waivers and waive PMI, but not thinking how that will affect the client's taxes after reassessment.
Well,
I don't think the value doesn't get reported to the county.
So that has no effect on the client's
taxes. Nathan. So yes, so just so everybody understands the question. So when we do a mortgage, Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, a lot of times will say that we don't need to do an appraisal. And what we can do with that is, let's say the house, the person thinks the house is worth $300,000. Well, sometimes we'll put in $330,000 just to see if that'll work, if Fannie Mae will take it, and they take it. And we're like, okay, the value of the house, it doesn't have any effect on their long-term reassessments because they don't see the value of the appraised value on that.
The local municipalities, they don't have anything to do with the mortgage or the value.
They can go up the price.
Yeah.
Right. They can go up the price.
The recorded deed, yes.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, and above and beyond that, right, an actuary figures out what the actual taxable value is. But I think that, I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, and not to shame or hurt realtors or whatever, but like, someone else has another game in town that people like to use. That's way more readily accessible. I mean, like, real estate agents, understandably so, are kind of upset because they had control over it, right? Complete control over it. And now with the advent of technology, essentially, like, hey, I want to sell my house, right? Or I want to buy a house, and I don't necessarily like, and mind you, I think you do absolutely need a realtor, right? But
a good one. Yeah.
But I think realtors should just like parlay on it.
It's Blockbuster, bro. Realtors are like Blockbuster. They didn't innovate. They had the ball for years and years and years, right?
Let's not say realtors and blanket it, right? But a lot of realtors are. Right?
The realtor business in general hasn't evolved much. Like it has tried to evolve, but there's a lot of old school thinking in real estate, and it's ripe for disruption, right? Zillow came in with a pretty shitty looking website initially, and it doesn't look that great still, but people use it because there aren't many advances like showing time. Showing time is so simple, right? As a program, and it got bought for millions and millions of dollars, right? So the innovation in the real estate space, unfortunately, in my opinion, is compared to other industries, because we're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar industry. We're not talking about a small industry like Netflix. Like, that's a smaller industry than the real estate industry in our world, right? I don't know about Amazon, but I bet you more revenues generated from the real estate industry than Amazon generates, right? But they're always innovating. But
I don't think more revenue, but probably more dollar sales, right? Like more sales reported, obviously, because the house costs, $300,000.
I bet you it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. If you think about how much money is made off one mortgage. One mortgage, right? We get paid.
No, I think you're right. Actually, I mean, if you think about the profit margin,
servicing
2 or 3%. What's Amazon's profit margin? Probably not much.
Right, servicing,
for sale,
all that shit, right? There's so much money that maybe the sale, the real estate agent makes money, the loan officer makes money, the servicer makes money, the person, you know what I mean? Right. The security makes money. It all makes money. Like, there's so much money in real estate, and. Right. To be fair, it's so fragmented still, and nobody's really figured out, even with all the innovations that we have, nobody has.
It's a tangible good. I mean, it's like you have to go see it.
Right.
If you want to buy it. I mean, you should, right? I mean, you're going to be living there or own it and rent it or whatever, right? I mean, I feel like there's just some things you can't replace, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, now Zillow could have set up security cameras in a house with a lockbox and vet you somehow so you can go in and look at it. Do you like it? Right? I'm sitting here in Washington, and your house is in Michigan, you were able to go look at it, blah, blah, blah. We'll charge, 3% overall between the seller and you and facilitate the deal. We can also do your lending, right? Did you like it? Mind you, you're on camera, right? So don't steal anything. But yeah, I mean, they could do that. Employ a whole bunch.
Amazon's doing it. Amazon, you can go to Japan. You can give a personal shopper, they put a camera on their chest. They put a camera on their chest, and they can go to different stores in Japan, in that street.
I've heard about it.
And you can order, like my buddy ordered a knife. He had it the next day from Japan, dude. Right? So why couldn't a real estate agent put on a camera and do walkthroughs for all their people all the time?
They could do that, or again, sit here. Cameras. I could set up cameras in a house in Beverly Hills, California, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll be here to talk you through and go through it, right? You can go into the house. I can see you in every single room because we have a camera set up. Right. When you get to the door, buzz, and I'll come up on your phone, right? And I'll talk to you while you go through the house.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many different, I
might open a real estate company.
Yeah, you're brilliant, bro. Fuck it.
You know how expensive the overhead would be to install a camera system on every for sale house? Not to mention
how many for sale houses do you have? And then you just rotate the cameras.
Yeah, you keep using them, right?
Yeah,
so you spend 10 G's on a remote camera system, right? Like, think about those cameras that you put on the side of your house, those Nest cameras or whatever. Yep. Dude, they're like wireless, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
they also use an internet connection, which you'd have to have an internet provider at each one of these for sale houses to hook up to.
I'm sure the owner
most houses have internet, right? Or
you buy a hotspot and put it in the house.
Yeah, you have Xfinity wireless basically everywhere, right? So it wouldn't be that hard, I'm sure, to put together. And then essentially you could sell homes anywhere in the country, right?
Don't give away your secrets. Don't give away your secrets. We're going to be rich, bro.
Dude, I mean, listen, not a bad idea, right? Hey, I've walked this house personally. I know the homeowners, blah, blah, blah. You're coming up on the foyer that was, but whatever, right? And wow, we really like this. We'll use you too because we're going to save money.
Yeah. So, I mean, the industry is ripe for innovation and it's still not there. I'll be interested to see what happens over the next year because there's going to be a lot of money. I mean, there's so much money coming into the real estate space because people see the opportunity. I mean, think about how much money Quicken and UWM got, Loan Depot got. We're talking billions of dollars are being poured into the mortgage side of it. And there's also billions of dollars being poured into the real estate side of it. So it'll be really, really interesting to see what all that money is going to do to the market because I do think it's going to shake things up. There's finally interest in tackling the real estate market from an investor standpoint. So I'll be interested to see how that goes. But guys, I'm done. I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to talk about, but we've hit every topic.
Back to work.
All right. Back to work, guys. Everybody that's listening, thank you for sitting through the show. If you wanted to comment, go to irepodcast.com, go to Facebook.com/IRE podcast. You can consume our audio everywhere that podcasts are listened to. I think we're pretty much on everything. And please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you do not miss an episode because I think we're pretty badass. And if you didn't like us, go fuck yourself. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you guys next week.
You've been listening to Inside Real Estate, the nation's top real estate podcast. Don't forget to follow us at irepodcast.com and everywhere where podcasts are available.